The original video I had planned for 2020 would see me kind of talking about a lot of the quote-unquote positive things that happened in 2020 that I could hopefully try and pass on to people. But then I saw Sean's video this morning, Jacksepticeye, saw his video, and he actually asked fellow creators some specific questions. So I decided to kind of reshoot this video with my answers to those questions in it, kind of like a response, if you will. And I'll still try and do the same thing, kind of paint some positives if people are kind of maybe struggling with certain things that maybe I could possibly lend some advice or have some answers for. Not specifically because I think I'm better than anybody, this is supposed to be like a flex or anything like that, but maybe, just in case something that I did this year with all the challenges that was 2020, maybe could help somebody else. So one of the two questions he asked was if YouTube was gone tomorrow, because he talked about in the title of his video was like 2020 almost made him quit YouTube. I think it's called 2020 almost made me quit YouTube, and it has him in the thumbnail. It's up today on the New Year's Eve, if you will. And he talked about, the kind of like the passion for uploading and stuff like that, and the fact of like daily uploading, how it kind of just becomes you're doing it for the sake of saying you did it. There's no real benefit to uploading daily. Like maybe when you're smaller, the YouTube algorithm like appreciates that and stuff like that too, because you don't have an audience, so you kind of need something or whatever. But at the same time, it's really just to say that you did it more so than anything else. Like YouTube doesn't hand out like some sort of reward play button for daily uploads, like some sort of like red play button or whatever, saying, hey, you did some daily upload, there you go. He was talking about like the mentality of doing YouTube analytics and stuff like that. But that was the first question was, if YouTube went away, if YouTube disappeared, would you kind of be in a devastating void of despair, or would you be okay? Because he also wanted to kind of reflect on himself a bit of, the difference between Jacksepticeye and Sean McLaughlin, like the person, who he was as a person, what he was like value and stuff like that too, how satisfied he was with things, how content he was with things if YouTube wasn't there. And the answer was he would be content, which is then also why he came back after his break and continued to do YouTube, because he realized he has some fulfillment, that's the word I think he used, as a person. And so now he can also go back after YouTube with a kind of a renewed kind of a thing. And my answer to that question was kind of, I don't think I'd be devastated, but doing YouTube, especially this long now, I've realized I like being creative. I like being a creative person. And I've liked that for a while. It's what I'm in college for, right? The paper I wrote to get into the thesis paper you gotta write when you kind of admit into a college was Legos to life. It started with Legos, went into Minecraft, I like building, I like constructing, I like doing that kind of stuff. And being creative though and stuff as well. And so that's definitely an outlet that YouTube has allowed me to do. So I definitely would miss YouTube. There would definitely be some bittersweetness, which I imagine, even though he didn't say that, there might be for him too. There might be like the memories and stuff as well. But I think I would also be able to survive. But I would hope, obviously, YouTube isn't going anywhere tomorrow, and stuff like that too. But that would be my answer for that first one, because I do think I would really miss it though, because I don't think there were a lot of creative avenues like the level that YouTube has there. Like I talked about the Thankmas trailer we did at the beginning of our Thankmas video that we did. I made it a trailer, and with Nags' trailer or charity, I kind of did like a trailer. The whole video was a trailer for that one. Like doing just random things like that, I find fun. Doing the McDonald's video, I find fun. Doing the Unasanas like post deletion video, I find stuff like that fun. So there would be a level that would be gone. It's why I tend to do YouTube even more than Twitch, is because for the production sometimes. Sometimes I just have a really creative or crazy idea that I don't know how I would do on a stream, so I do it on YouTube. Not to knock Twitch or streaming, by the way. I think streaming is actually harder of the two if we really want to go into that. But that would be my answer for that question. The second question was in terms of like, do creators kind of feel like the YouTube analytics kind of feel like they can kind of be a little bit grading on your mentality, because like they have like a checklist, for example, in there. If you've never uploaded YouTube videos and stuff, in the studio when you're uploading and stuff, they have like a checklist of all these things that you check, and no matter how good of a video you felt you make and stuff like that, sometimes that checklist will be like, oh, 8 out of 10, 80%. And it's just like, well, dang, I thought I did everything right. And because I didn't like upload this or link it off to like say Facebook, you're gonna miss that box and say this video is like an 80 out of 100 or whatever. It's like, you're not supposed to judge yourself off of the numbers, but when you see that like every time you upload, it can wear on you after a while, even though you tell yourself to ignore it. And that can be definitely a thing too. So that's something I kind of agree with that question, and it just kind of like, in 2020 especially, where people have more time at home to do more things, pursue more things, that was also like a counter thing with YouTube, was seeing stuff like that. Like the jinx, like Sean named his video, 2020 almost made me quit YouTube. 2020 almost killed my League of Legends channel. So I mean, there's some relation there, which is kind of why I want to reshoot this video. The GG Get Jinxed almost died. this year as a channel, and I almost let it die. I didn't even try and save it at one point. I just kind of let it kind of ride out and saw what happened. And then I got kind of a bit of renewed vigor for it, if you will. And so I saved it in September and November and was able to kind of turn that around a bit. And I don't really talk about behind the scenes stuff too much, so I didn't really talk about that all that much anyways. But I mean, the channel's still limping on. I gotta find a way to kind of revamp it, I guess. But it can be one of those things when it comes to doing YouTube as a fellow creator that we don't talk about. The saying is the grass is always greener on the other side. And that can be true for a lot of scenarios. Some people would still be like, I'd rather take the cons of whatever that is up there, but still like be a YouTuber. And that's fine, right? Some people are feeling like, yeah, your grass might be, you know, not perfect, but mine's is burnt. So I'll still take your grass. Like, sure, there's some things people are still willing to put up with to like counter that because they want to be like pedantic or stuff. That's fine. But like, there's how do I word this? There's a thing about doing something even when you like it where you still can kind of burn out with it. So you gotta just basically kind of be careful. And 2020 was one of those years where it was trying everybody and making sure everybody tried to be careful. Or some people, of course, weren't, which made things harder for everybody else. But what I'm saying is like, it definitely was a year that if you were gonna get tested, this year definitely tested. It tested some of everybody for a lot of different reasons. And those would be my answers kind of to his questions. And just going into 2020 at large, 2020 is finally coming to an end. This year was kind of a good year YouTube-wise if we ignore the League channel, because on this gaming channel, which I made so I could just upload and make whatever kind of content I want, right, we did the daily upload challenge where I uploaded for 30 days straight, ended up being 50 days straight because I came up with so many extra ideas. We were on lockdown anyways, I was home, I did it. We did Mega Man 11, Minecraft, Sonic Forces even, which was kind of a surpriser because there were actually some parts about that game that was actually pretty decent, to be honest. I had in time, a lot of backlog games that I hadn't played yet, I got to play finally. But then we also like took the data off of doing daily uploads and looked at, you know, things here and there. I made the growth choice as a person to start putting my face in thumbnails. I didn't do that because I felt like it'd be kind of phony of me to do that if I wasn't capturing my actual like exact face from like the scene when it play out. Turns out that's not the case. Some people actually like my face in thumbnails, and I even got an emote off of it at one point. So you know that was fun. But like, so there's some growth things around YouTube that was pretty fun. Helltaker came out in late May. It was all over the place. I kept seeing like Cerberus art and everything, and I found out it was a game that was for free on Steam. That's supposed to take only 20 minutes. Took us an hour because we got our butts kicked on 2 different levels. The Gate and the Angel, I believe, kicked our butts quite a bit. But I did that, and that was the first time I did a video that was like an hour long that people watched most of. It was insane to think about that. Like the watch time was actually high. So a lot of times it's red arrows, but this was like a green arrow, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. It actually has a couple hundred views, a lot of likes. It's doing well, and it kind of carried us. And I started, what I did, this is the part that gets controversial, this is why I enabled TikTok a bit, because what I decided to do was start cutting the funny parts or the highlights of some of these gameplays that I was doing for YouTube and just kind of throw them up there and saw what happened. And some of the Helltaker ones blew up quite a bit, 1.5 million views actually. And if I really wanted to grow, I'd actually still be attacking TikTok with content strategy. But I haven't, because like at the end of the day, I like doing YouTube the most, and also college. College plays a role first and foremost, which was a thing in June, especially. That's why Helltaker came around a good time. But it's also the 10-year anniversary of Danganronpa, so we started playing through the series finally. I love the series, but I never really got to actually play it. And I finally got to play through the Danganronpa series, and the first game, the second game, back-to-back for 30 days straight. And into No Straight Roads. Our good friend Uncle Ali is in No Straight Roads. He voice acts for DJ Subatomic Supernova, and we got to play that game. That game blew up over here on YouTube with tens of thousands of views, and I'm very grateful between the Danganronpa, the Helltaker, and No Straight Roads, all the people that stuck around and still are around and watching the videos, because that growth was insane. We got like 1,000. We got to, you know, get partnered and monetized and all that stuff in a short time because of that explosive growth across the summer. From Danganronpa into Danganronpa 2, into No Straight Roads, into Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, and then finally into Danganronpa V3. With the final last hurrah actually in November. See, last year in December I made an Unasanas video, just kind of about Unasanas, what I thought Unasanas was going to be about and stuff like that too. That video ended up blowing up the night that the 14th, where the channel got deleted, and people were like asking like, what is Unasanas? And for some reason my video started circulating, and that actually blew up. That was kind of like a late blow up. It got like a couple thousand, tens of thousands views as well. And that's sometimes, and I bring that up not to brag, it's more so that's sometimes how YouTube can be, which is why I'm not saying, you know, stay on the horse and, you know, always ignore stuff and it's just very easy, just do it, etc., etc. But sometimes it is a little bit of a long game. Sometimes you're gonna make something that might pop off, months later and stuff like that. So don't feel bad either. I talked about that with, what was it, the second question with the analytics and the check boxes and all that stuff too. Sometimes YouTube's weird like that, and something that you felt, you put your all in, maybe didn't go exactly how you went on release, but it might do well later. And that, as such, don't beat yourself up about certain things like that because they didn't bang or they didn't do something, or because it feels like the algorithm's like against you and stuff like that too. Sometimes, it might reward you later. Sometimes it might just be, it's still a great video even if the views or the likes doesn't say so. Which is weird in a world where it feels like, but that's the determining factor, right? It's like, no. I mean, yes, in terms of if you're trying to grow and be explosive. No, in terms of you still might have made a great video, right? If I blew up tomorrow and I was like a massive YouTuber, there would still be people I would collab with, no matter how small they were, if I think we'd make something cool together. That's where I'm at at this point when it comes to YouTube and creating stuff. I just want to create things that I think would be cool to create just because. It doesn't matter who you are, unless of course you're someone that's actually like a terrible person or terrible ideas, then we can't be friends. But like in general, it's like I'm open to all kinds of stuff at this point. And if you can be too, hopefully you are. Talking a bit more of a personal side, for those that are still watching, that maybe this stuff can maybe help a bit too. My weight was something I thought of trying to control in lockdown and stuff, where I was like, okay, I've gotten a bit heavier than I like to. The freshman 15 definitely hit me in college. I want to actually try and start working that down, like for me though, not for any other reason, not out of complaints, not because other people called me fat or anything. I just wanted to look good because I just want to look good. And I know a lot of that weight I packed on was just me being lazy, and I wanted to control something. In a world where it feels like things are kind of uncontrollable for a lot of people, I wanted to look for the little things that you could control, and then you kind of build a foundation, maybe even build like a whole fortress out of things that you could control. Brushing your teeth twice a day instead of once a day at night, maybe fixing your sleep schedule so you get up a little bit earlier. It doesn't have to be a lot, just maybe a little bit earlier. It feels like you have more of a morning to kind of plan things out. Small things even, the smallest of things, no matter what they were here or there. Making sure you eat at a decent time instead of looking up, it's 11 o'clock at night and you're like, oh, I guess I gotta go eat now because I actually am hungry, but I forgot to eat because I got so busy. It could be like little minor things to take into 2021. Maybe that can help you get through the year, because obviously there'll be some spillover because of 2020's aftermath, but hopefully into 2021 you can still have a good year for some reason or another. And that's some of the steps I took in that regard. Social media, I'll end on social media being like doom scrolling and stuff like that. That was definitely a thing for people. As someone that's been on Twitter since 2011, I didn't really use anything on mobile. I never really used mobile apps. I didn't do any of that stuff. That was one way. That's something that kind of continued because I was just like, oh, hey, maybe this will be a way I can kind of mitigate my social media, and not really addiction, but like just how much I'm on it. It's if I'm away from my computer or if I'm away from my laptop at the time. I just built this PC last year, so I got my PC finally for the first time in 2019. There we go. I'm catching up slowly. That could be a way where I could be like, oh, hey, if I'm out running errands, if I'm out just running whatever I'm doing, if it's not like a business email that will still come to my phone, that's how I'm away from social media. I nothing on my phone, no apps on my phone, no mobile, nothing. That's why I'm upset. Twitter, you need to bring back web backgrounds, at least for the holidays, so I can have some spoopy or Christmas stuff when it comes to this time of year. That'd be nice, just saying. That's all. But also, another thing I did was I changed the trending topics into a language I can't read. So that way, the first thing when I wake up in the morning, if I see the trending topics and it's something that's really bad, maybe something that deserves my attention, sure, like it's an important world issue, I still not the first thing I see. So I can prepare myself because I can see maybe other people are tweeting about it and be like, okay, I can get into a space where I'm prepared to go in to see what has happened, what's going on, what do I need to know, what's important for what I'm talking to my audience, if it's one of those kind of topics and stuff too. But then also not being afraid to kind of like, I say, mute people's retweets. Not to be mean to them, and obviously don't announce that you're muting their retweets, but again, if that's a thing that bears down on your mentality, I would recommend it, because again, even if it's an important situation, it's not about saying, hey, this is stupid drama, I don't want to see it. It's more of if it's the first thing you see because you are someone that's on your phone, you are just scrolling when you roll out of bed and stuff, maybe you can be like, hey, okay, I know something's up, but now I can get myself in a space where I'm prepared to go deal with that. Maybe even go get breakfast first, come sit down, then, go into the topic at hand and stuff like that. Those would be a few things for just social media, period. I use Twitter as an example because I still use Twitter every day for various reasons. So maybe that's something that you can translate to other social medias that have those kind of options and tools. I know these social media platforms aren't perfect, but we know they're not perfect, and we know they're probably not going to be perfect overnight. So there's some tools to maybe take care of yourself here or there. And this video is running a little bit long, actually, still, but I wanted to address and re-record this and kind of talk about some of the things that Sean talked about that I thought was pretty interesting as a fellow creator, and maybe pass off a few things to make the beginning of 2021 a bit more bearable, because again, we're gonna have to deal with some of the landslide stuff that's still falling out. But hopefully 2021 will be a good year for everyone, but like a really good year for everyone. Like I feel like we're all overdue for like a really, really good year. Not a year where we're like, oh, it wasn't bad, a good year. So that's gonna be all for this video. So thank you so much for watching this video. I don't know which video will be next. We're just gonna have to wait and see. So until next time, take care and enjoy pizza responsibly. Thank you for watching. Or, as I've been saying lately, sometimes the pizza's hot, sometimes it's not. Hopefully the pizza's hot though, and have a happy new year. I like this camera too much. I really do like this too much. Ooh, where is he? Gorge. Yeah, okay, I'm done.